Hello all and welcome back to High Ridge Farm with me, the Walrus. We've had a successful luau here in Pelican Town where we've met our governor and he did things and it was great because we managed to achieve a good boost to our general friendships with everybody in the town. Of course, as part of that, we've now got we've got a concert to go to and a letter reading to go to. Not a letter reading, sorry, a book reading. Now, I will freely admit, I've never actually seen this cutscene before, because I've never really tried to, have a good relationship with Elliot before, because there's just not been any reason to. So actually seeing what happens is actually kind of interesting to me, because I've just never seen it before. So we will see how well this goes. Hopefully it works out well and it's kind of interesting. But we will find out soon. Like I say, I've never actually tried. Not like I've never tried being nice to the guy. It's just I've never deliberately gone out of my way to improve my friendship with him. And I think that's part of the sort of the long string of things that I do need to achieve my perfection, which is, lo and behold, the end goal here of this Let's Play. As soon as I achieve perfection, it's not that I'm going to abandon playing Stardew Valley, it's that until the 1.6 update comes out, I'm going to feel like I've achieved enough for the time being, and I'm probably going to move on to a different game. What that'll be, I don't know. I'm very much tempted by Graveyard Keeper, because that's one that I've had for a little while. I've watched my brother play it, and he's definitely rated it highly for me. Maybe go back to Potion, the alchemy simulator. Like, it was quite good fun, but I think I was really bad at it, and probably wouldn't hurt me sort of like having a go again. Like, people have sort of like said to me, and actually even commented on the videos, I think, saying that there's loads more to this, and I'm like, really? There's a lot more to this game than I actually thought, am I? But oh well, that's kind of my own fault on that one for not really exploring the options and possibilities in that game. I've got Paleo Pines as well, which is one that I'd like to give a go to, but I also do want to make a few other Stardew videos. I mean, to be fair, I still haven't done it. The video I commented that I was going to do for the end of the summer, the the 100th video thing. So I still need to do that. As you can tell, I'm not going to lie, I'm having a little bit of ADHD scatterbrain moment, because it's finding it difficult to focus on actually the planning side of it and actually what do I want to put in it. So that's my fault on that one. But I will live, because I'm sure I can figure out something exciting. But all the same, we have our lovely farm generating as much cash as possible today. We've got lots of wine that I'm going to fling in for sale. I've got just general miscellanea that I don't need to worry about. You know, there's lots to vend and lots to try to work through with today. Okay, so I'll just sell all of that I don't need, because I don't need it. Lo and behold, who would have guessed? Now, yeah, the winery is still going fine. That's all good. Nothing to worry about on that one. Let's see. Okay. So, of course, that's the kind of the big thing for me as well. This is, as I mentioned before, I'm trying to make as much money as possible because I need the 10 million. And that's kind of a scary amount, to be honest with you. It's not that I haven't made that much money. It's that I don't think I've tried to make that much money quickly. And I think, yes, producing wine and then just selling the wine is going to be the easiest way of doing it. So perhaps I should just start making more kegs and fill the the quaternary shed with kegs for the time being. Even though I know that that's not really the main reason for me having it. It's my tea generation is my main reason for having it. But again, it's not going to be too much of an issue if that's going to be a thing for the time being, because I can just use it to make beer. I can use it to make wine. I've got all that wheat that I can make beer with, and I could even start growing some more other miscellaneous crops that are good for turning into wine on Ginger Island. And I think that is going to be something I will do, is I am going to have Ginger Island growing a large quantity of starfruit. Now I've got my island stuff that is repeated growth. So, you know, the stuff that's going to be harvestable repeatedly, such as the blueberries and yada, yada, yada. You know, that sort of stuff. And I think that's a very important thing to have. Because it just allows me to complete the key quests, because there are going to be a few of those. Like when I end up with another one of the dump things of certain colours into the box, that's fine. That's not going to be a worry. There are a few other issues that are going to be like a possible thing that I'm going to need to do. But there's plenty of space on Ginger Island, which I'm not really using. And I think that's probably my game plan at this point, is to actually do something with it. Which isn't a bad idea, I don't think. I don't think it's a terrible shock or shame to decide that you're going to try and do something with that land. It'll be nice to actually get some, again, more money coming in. And that's really all I'm after, is just as much money as physically possible. And I know that's something I keep ranting about, but I just want money. I mean, to be fair, that's a real life thing, isn't it, though, as well? Like, money, you say? Yes, I'd like more of that, thank you. That would be great. But yeah. Okay, so I'm going to plant a few more of the lovely seeds here. That's going to be good. What else can we get? Well, again, I should probably do another trip to the quarry at some point, because that's where I've got all of my trees, because I've just slapped a bunch of them down there, and I thought that would be a very sensible plan. Like, it seems like a reasonable place to put them. Yes, you're going to get stone growth, but that's not a big problem, really. But being able to slap down as many trees there as physically possible is not a bad thing, because it's a large swath of land that I'm not really doing anything with. So having that as an opportunity location works quite nicely. In the same way, I would like to see if I can plant the fruiting trees on Ginger Island that aren't actually taking up valuable crop space. If that is the case, and I can plant them elsewhere, that'd be great. I'm even wondering if I can plant them on the beach. You know, I've never actually tried that. I do genuinely wonder if that's an actually viable plan. Might have to give that a go. You never know, it might work, it might also just not, because weird ideas and all. There's a lot still to explore with Ginger Island now, that although I do have the ostrich incubator, which is great. I'm really pleased that I've got that, and the ostrich egg is just going away, like working away. I still need to improve my friendship with Leo. Now, he's quite an easy one, though, because he likes mangoes, and now that he lives next door to Linus, if I can take a coconut and a mango over to them, that's their two favoritist things. And Leo likes the mangoes, coconut for Linus, and, you know, that's super easy, and improve the friendship. I've got a reasonable friendship level with most of the members of the community, which is good. It's just going to be getting the last bits over. Okay, so we're now at the book reading, so let's see what Elliot has written. I'm expecting some drivel, but that might be just because I have a not super high opinion of Elliot. So we will see. Okay. I'm enjoying how packed it is. That's actually quite cute. Also, if he's reading a full novel, that'll be, whew. Like that's a number of hours. Isn't like Stephen Fry reading Harry Potter like a silly amount of time? Okay, chapter 1. Commander Yelkin. Okay, so he's doing a sci-fi book. Interesting. Not what I had honestly anticipated. Okay. There's only a few people left. I mean, to be fair, I'd get quite tired after that long sort of length of time. I wonder if this is going to eat my entire day. That would suck if it does. Because I've still got to go and see Sam's band. Well, we'll see. Okay, so apparently that actually took no time at all for a full book reading. Interesting. Fair enough. But that's nice. We've got a good positive relationship boost with Elliot, which is nice. Who next? I guess that's the question, isn't it? Now, I know that you can build your friendship with your children, and I don't really know if there's much point. I don't actually know if the kids, well, do anything. I mean, to be fair, small children in real life don't exactly give you recipes other than for disaster and make mess. So, probably not. Yeah, okay, I'm being a bit mean, but yeah, I'm not good with kids. I really don't know. I say that because I'm quite good with my nieces and nephews who are in their goodness 11, 12, so they're early teen, like tweens and early teens. But that's maybe that's just because I find that slightly older kids are easier to talk to. They sound really daft, but for me, I feel like they've got more of a personality. They've got like an ideal, a goal. They want to do things. Whereas really young kids are just, I like spinning around in circles and talking about jam, which, fair enough. You do you, boo. Unfortunately, it's just not very interesting. Well, it's not very interesting for me. And I think that's probably what it kind of boils down to. Okay. Let's see if I can catch myself a flounder while I'm at it here. So, can of Coke. And we've got more trash. Wow, we're getting a lot of garbage items, aren't we, out of the sea today? I wonder why that is. Not the end of the world. It's just kind of surprising, actually, really, because usually I don't see this much rubbish. Maybe it's because I'm used to casting out further, and that has something to do with it. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't honestly know. Again, I really wish I did know more about the game. Like, I know the basics and all that jazz, but I don't like... I'm not a massive data bank repository store of info about the game. Kind of wish I was. So, we're going to make that... seafoam pudding, so that's that done. Very happy with that. That's lovely, because seafoam pudding is good. And let's see, what else can we get? Right, so can we make anything else that's kind of handy at this point? Well, I've made most of the basics that I kind of needed to, so at least that's done, I think. That's kind of like my main sort of like selling point at the moment, is I've done most of the basic bits, so that makes me feel good. Okay. Let's see. What else can we get here? Well, do I just want to sell that? Yeah, let's just sell things. Again, I'm trying to make money, and I know full well that I can just throw stuff that I've got in the storage bins in for sale, so... like, all the minerals and things, like, yeah, they're good for, like, friendship boosts with some of the members of the village, but you're not really going to need them that much. But that's kind of the shame on that one. Okay, so one of the other things I'm also considering is, how much do I need the mill still? I'm still sort of umming and ahhing about that one. I'm going to have a proper think. But yeah, anyway, that's a kind of a mood for another point. So we're going to go and watch Sam's band, which is going to be cool because that comprises not Emily. Lily said Emily. Sam, Sebastian, and Abigail, which kind of cool. I mean, I know they've got like a bassist and all, but have they actually got a vocalist? I don't think so. Not by the looks of things. I mean, you can have a guitarist who sings. Is meh. I don't play. I do play a musical instrument. I just don't play the guitar. So I'm not like because you know when I was a kid I decided to learn the piano. Fun instrument, just not that useful band-wise, as I discovered. Even though Sebastian seems to be making it work with a keyboard. It's a good replacement for a bass. All the same. Righties, it's quite a nice, interesting pit of an environment there. And it's interesting to see that Linus has taken to investigating bins in a different town. Again, you do you, boo, but that's a bit weird, if you ask me. But again, that's Linus's choice and decisions, and you know, again, you're more than welcome to go and investigate bins. Just, I don't know why you would in a different town, but apparently it seems to be going quite well with the band. They're playing well. Emily's enjoyed herself, so that's nice. Shane likes the bass. Does he like the buttery biscuit bass, though? Good old Greg Wallace. Okay. So it looks like everybody enjoyed themselves. That's all good. Now, I think is Sam the one who's supposed to get... Yeah, I think he's the one who's like vaguely intended to get paired up with Penny. I was sort of trying to work that through in my head, like who's supposed to be paired up with whom? Whose life do I ruin? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you could actually say I ruin Haley's life, but that's one way of putting it. Okay, so let's ride on up and go up to what's her face? Robin. I want to go and see Robin's house for a moment. Well, not specifically to her house, but, you know, in that general vicinity. Because I'm going to go and see if I can find either of the boys, as in Linus and... what's his name? The small child from Ginger Island. I've said his name earlier, and the name has now entirely escaped me. Oh, goodness gracious. That's annoying. Well... Leo. There we go. Goodness gracious, I can't even read, can I? Yeah, that's the trouble is, like, I'm so bad with names, and I know I am. It's a weakness of mine. I'm just cripplingly bad at remembering people's names. So there was a time when I was actually training to be a teacher, and I was genuinely considering, like, I might actually have to just put post-it notes on the kids, or have a seating plan, because that way I'll remember who's sitting where. I mean, I know how my old science teacher used to do stuff. He used to just make sure we had a seating plan, so he knew exactly who was where, because he had it written down. So you could easily confuse the guy, because he'd just be like, hang on a minute, who are you? And why are you there? Because that's just how his brain worked. And yeah, that's kind of how mine does as well. I'm easily confused. But, oh well. Anyway, so we're heading back to Ginger Island to have a quick look in the volcano. Again, it's because I'm trying to get stone. That's part of the reason for being here. But I'm also curious to see if I can get some more of the cinder shards, because they'll be very handy. Otherwise, I'm curious to see if I can get any prismatic shards from the place, because that would be really helpful at this point, because I do really need the damn things. Because, yeah, there's a lot of a requirement for me to have them. I mean, I need another 2 of them at least to do the Mr. Key quest that I'm trying to blunder my way through. So, hopefully I can manage that by either mining through here or... Actually, well, the desert's the only other place, isn't it? Really. Again, I guess I could use... the hard mode caves. That's a possibility. Not super, super difficult, but I just don't know where they're more likely to spawn. But I think there's also like a chance of drop from the key slimes and all sorts of weird and wonderful. So that's going to be a possibility, I guess. I'm going to have to sort of think about that one. Yeah, all the same, going to have to try it out. So we've got another switch to press over here. That's fine. We'll see what we get. So it's opening the door. That's fine. Okay, so it's 10:20. It's not too bad. If it was much later, I don't know if I'd be trying so much in here. Thankfully, again, because of the return scepter, it's just made my life so much easier. I don't have to do anything. It's just like, time to go home. Boo. Maybe I could... If I was able to make a couple of my own mods for this, I would like to have guinea pigs as a pet instead of like a cat or a dog. Or even like in addition to. I'd like to be able to buy like a guinea pig hutch and have a couple of guinea pigs, because that'd be kind of sweet and I'd like that. What else would be kind of nice? Yeah, I'd like to make a couple of like sound mods. See if I can have it so that it's like some of the sound effects in the game are a bit different. Like the return scepter, so like it'd make a very silly noise, I'm sure. I can't decide entirely what I'd put as it, but part of my brain's just being really weirdly, hilariously intrusive and going, you know, it'd be really funny. The Tesla coil noise from like good old Red Alert. From like, 1995 Westwood Studios electricking noise of doom. Because weird and wonderful, right? That's totally what you need in a game. Yeah, again, I'm painfully aware I probably shouldn't be allowed out in public. So, what else of use are we going to sort out here? Well, it's 12:30. There's not really going to be a huge amount else that I can do in here today, I don't think. Okay, which is not not the end of the world, but there's not a huge amount more I can do down here. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a bit more in the way of resources, because I want the stone. And stone's not too difficult to get in here, considering each of the deposits is more than, well, one. Okay, so let's just dump the stuff we've gathered, my ill-gotten gains, for want of a better phrase, and see what shinies we might end up with by the end of the day. Might be something helpful. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Come on, something useful. Well, we've reorganised our ill-gotten gains for the day. Having a quick look at the general friendship. So, look, it's not too bad. We've got a couple more that we kind of need to buff up a bit. So we've got the wizard. He's going to be the next easy one, I think. And George. Now, that one's not too difficult. I think I've got some leeks in the fridge. So I think that will be quite an easy one. So let's see what our plan is for Saturday then. So that's Friday over. On to Saturday itself. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to figure out if there's anything helpful. Okay, so we've got ourselves a nice little achievement there for shipping out all of the starfruit, I think. Which is, shocking enough, real good. We've done well there. We've shipped out a lot of starfruit, which makes me happy. And, yeah, let's see where else we can go with this. Excuse me. Again, unfortunately, I'm still suffering a little bit with this cough that just will not go away. And the trouble is, I keep coughing so much that I no matter how many times I record this, I end up just hacking a lung up, unfortunately. As I've been told by the doctor, it's going to last 8 weeks. So, yeah, I'm loving life right now, as I'm sure you can all tell. But oh well. We live and learn. And, unfortunately, what I'm living for is suffering. Now, yeah, I've definitely got some leeks. I've got some spring onions. I think spring onions are a favourite of Linus as well. So that's a possibility as well. Now, is blue jazz something that I know it's a flower that I actually consume as part of one of the recipes, but I'm trying to figure out, is it a liked gift of, I nearly called it Granny Weatherwax. You can tell I've been reading Pratchett again. I can't remember, honestly, if it's a favourite of hers. Ah, well. Okay, well, Sandy's thinking about me, and she wants me to go and visit her in the desert. Now, she's somebody I would love to be able to marry. Good old Sandy. Just because she's like one of those interesting characters that I think would be quite fun. Yeah, I guess because she's not a character you can meet early on, I can see why they wouldn't have her as a marriage prospect. Which, I say they, I mean, a curious ape. It does make sense, but it's a shame. Okay. Right, so let's see what else we can get and get done. Well, that's the thing. There's not a huge amount I need to do today. Well, I've got all these, like, lovely crops that I can harvest, which is great. I'm very pleased that I can do, because harvesting all the crops is fantastically helpful. And really, the general game plan, because I want to make money. But I've got all these, the lovely star fruit is going to be a constant repeated joy. And that makes me quite happy that I get a lot of star fruit. Because again, it's money, it's income, it's something that useful I can use to make wine. I can turn it into jams and preserves if needs be. Although I don't think it'd be a particularly viable way of using it. I do think, however, the large quantity of berries and such that I'm generating on Ginger Island is going to be kind of a useful food source in a sense for the pickling and preserving shed. Because, yeah, they're going to be constantly generating and growing things, so it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? To have that as an opportunity. But it makes sense to me to sort of like use what the land we have to try to get as much money as possible. So again, look at all this ancient fruit wine. That's fantastic. And again, I want ancient fruit wine. It sells for a bomb. It's fantastic stuff. And I like having all the money. And yeah. Let's see where else we can get from this. So I still need to make a few more kegs. So that's a thing. And I should also make a few more of them anyway, as I mentioned, to allow me to get more coming in. Essentially to try and just make as much money as possible, because I think just selling more of the wine is a good idea. And the tea shed is a cool idea, but I don't think it's going to happen immediately with any sort of like great haste. So let's see if we can get that done. Okay, so what else can we sort out in here? Well, head back up to the house for a moment. Now, I know I've got a lot of ancient fruit wine, and I think ancient fruit wine is what I'm going to replace in the kegs, in the aging casks for now. And to be fair, going on with this, I don't think starfruit wine is going to be as valuable to me. So, and because of that, I think that the starfruit wine should just be sold. And it's the same with like having a over, like not quite an overstock, but I do have a lot of the ancient fruit wine. And considering it takes so long, I think it's, was it like 2 full seasons to fully age a bottle of wine from basic to iridium. So that's like what, 56 days? That's a long time. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a great extra boost to the money making, but I'm kind of better off just flinging the ones that I make for the time being just straight into sales. Because I'd like to make money, thanks. Gosh, I sound like such a money-grubbing, conniving ass, but I just want the money. Because you need a silly amount of money to actually achieve the end game. Okay, so I'm going to buy a bunch of starfruit seeds, partly because I can plant at least another batch of them this season, and I can also just sow them on Ginger Island, and that's a good thing because it'll just give me more money, and that's really what I'm after, is just money, 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 money. So we'll have a look and see on that one. Okay, so the lightning strikes are getting a bit repeated. I fear that I might not actually have enough lightning rods down, so I'm going to have to kill a bunch more bats. And that's the thing, is I haven't actively gone out of my way to try and hunt bats for a little while. I think the last time was for one of the Monster Hunter quests that wasn't a regular, like it was given to me by what's his name, the guy in the shop. Who was it? One of them. It wasn't the regular actual guys who were like, oh yeah, we'd like you to do things and earn rewards. I think it was a Clint one. Okay, so I'd like you to do that shed upgrade for me, please, Robin, now that you're done with finishing off the House of Pam. And now I'm kind of sort of umming and ahhing on that one, as of course was mentioned by a good regular viewer, that I'm doing it not for Pam, I'm doing it for Penny. That's why I'm getting the house upgrade. I kind of want to tell Pam, stop being such a terrible person to your daughter. She does what she can, and she is a fantastic human being, because she's really trying to make the kids' lives better of Stardew Valley, of Pelican Town. She's genuinely trying her damnedest. She wants to be she genuinely is trying, and that's genuinely really good and really nice. She's actually trying. Okay, so we actually got that cutscene now, so that's cool. So let's see what Pam thinks of her new home. Well, good old Robin being like, look at the work I put in. It's we know you did a good job, but hear me out. For once, this isn't about you. It's not your wooden bed, which that was really cool. Okay. Yeah, tell them that I paid for it, because I did. There's no other really way of putting it. I did do it, so tell them. Yep, so let's see what people say. Yep. Okay, Pam's crying. I mean, I guess that's kind of one of those things that, Robin theoretically could have done it out of the goodness of her own heart, but obviously didn't. Because, it's expensive. I mean, a little bit. Only $500,000. Oh, it's a gift. No. I want you to start treating Penny better. Stop being such a terrible person. Seriously. Cut back on the drinking. Start being nicer to Gus. And because that poor man, the fact that he was almost, genuinely scared to tell you that you owed him money when you've gone to his business and essentially drunk for free because you haven't paid him. Again, I think that's probably what... Again, summing up the reasons I don't like Pam is because she just treats people like garbage. Okay. Well, at least we now have a new house for Penny and her mother, which is all well and good. And, yeah. I guess that kind of makes me happy that that's done. Or you want 4 red snappers? Fine and dandy. I'll probably not be able to do that. Mostly because I'll forget. It's not like I'm actively going, oh, I'm not going to do that. It's more that, yeah, no, I am a dumbass and I will probably forget. So, let's see. You know what? You can have a bottle of wine. I mean, that's kind of a valuable gift in the grand scheme of gifts that I could probably give somebody. I kind of regret that a little bit, but not that much. To be fair, though, I could also have just given her a bottle of maple syrup for the same sort of friendship reward. Oh, well, you live and learn. And considering the amount of mistakes I generally make. So I know that roasted hazelnut's one of Kent's favourites, so that's a good one. Now, what do you like, small child? Vincent, what is your jam? And do I have one on my person? There you are. Okay, so Leo's still quite low. Kent's still quite low in the grand scheme of things. It's not going to be too hard to sort of work on. Okay, so let's actually have a look at Vincent. Where are you? There you are. You like grapes? I think I've got grapes on me. Yeah, I do. Fantastic. There we go. So we'll give Vincent some grapes. Or a grape. Singular grape. Although it's clearly not actually a singular grape. It's clearly a bunch of grapes. But, you know. Because that would be a really weird gift. Have a singular grape. Because, you know, I want you to know how much I care about you. Good old Stardew Valley. I gave a small child a grape and he was happy. Okay, so no trash can lid for me there. And again, no living hat, which has been, not saying you're taunting me, but I'm still jealous. I want it. I want it. C'est la vie. It's a thing. I do want the living hat. I've never had it before, and yeah, I've had the trash can enough. Like, I do need to just sort of go around a bit more and just open the bins and do a little bit more rummaging. But again, I want the living hat. I think because I know that I can put it on the horse is like one of them, and I think you can put it on your kids. So I'm just thinking of what would be a good bit of headgear for the kid. Good old Ray. Not sure. Ah well, we'll figure that out. Okay, so we've got coffee beans. Let's see if we've got enough to put some more coffee on, because again, coffee is the thing that fuels me. Although to be fair, the thing that really fuels me is alcohol. And I'm never going to deny that I am very much like Nanny Og of Pratchett fantasticness, in that I like a drink and I like another drink. But oh well. Righty, so because it's raining, it does mean that I don't have to water any of my plants, which is nice. That makes my life a lot easier, especially considering I am very lazy. Now, I'm here back on Ginger Island because I want to see what you have for sale. I could probably buy the tropical TV at some point, because actually that's not too hard to get. I just need some more of the taro root to make poi, which you can do. Right, so let's cut down these trees. Again, I'm actually hunting for the sap. The boring, uninteresting, the sap. And because I do have so much wood, I am thinking I might start using that in the charcoal burner. I think that's going to be like the most prudent and sensible option, to be honest. Because, again, money and time. Because coal is a bit of a faff, and it's one of the things that I really need. And yeah, I seek it out because yeah, I need it. I need it, man. I need it to live. So we'll get more coal, and that's fine. What else next though? That's again the big question. What's going to be the next useful bit of gubbins? Okay, so let's put a bomb down here. Blow up that large quantity of stone. Look at that. All that stone. Lovely jubbly. So, again, getting all the stone ready is good, because that's just going to give me some more useful stuff for that, the stone quest that is currently running. Obviously, I need 1,000 stone. It's just not difficult when you're doing that. Yeah. Okay, so we'll smash open that. We'll just head on over here. Is there anything else that we can do quickly? So again, I'm grabbing the cinder shards because I know I'm going to need to use them to make more amalgamated rings, if I do wish to make any more of them. I'm going to need them for weapon upgrades, and that's going to be the biggest thing, really, is I want to tweak the hammer next and the dagger next. And I'm trying to debate where... I know I mentioned that obviously I've never really used a dagger before, so I think that's probably the one I should try and work with next. Because, again, it's not something I've used before, so let's give it a try. And that's kind of what, in the same way as I know I mentioned in the previous video, I chose this farm because I've never had this setup before. And don't think it's a terrible thing. It's just, I just never chosen to do this particular farm before. And it's quite an interesting thing. Like, the basic farm is all well and good and all, but the fact that the other farm types have interesting quirks, I quite like the fact that you've got a washed up items from the beach farm, which is actually really nice. You can end up with some really good quality rewards actually from it. In all seriousness, you can end up with all kinds of useful gubbins. In the same way that, of course, with the mountain farm that I have at High Ridge Farm here, I've got the chance of, well, I say chance, there is that spawn of ore. Oh, look at all these cinder shards. That's fantastic. Look at that. That's great. Lovely. Always nice to have more cinder shards. Amethyst as well. That's fine. Okay, so we'll just slice our way through here. I mean, it's only 20, what, not even 20 past 8 yet, so it's still quite early in the day. I'll see how far I get in here, just because I'm really, really honestly hunting mostly for the stone in here, because it'll just allow me to complete the stone quest very quickly. Because there's not really much else in here. I've not seen any other prismatic shards. I don't think there's a high chance of them dropping in general. Because they are quite a rare item generally, aren't they? They don't seem like they are super, super common, which is a shame, but that's just how it is, isn't it? They're a rare item. It's how it goes. Okay. So our lovely dwarf friend, he's just being there and doing stuff and things. You know, highly accurate descriptions of the general day-to-day life of a dwarf. I mean, I'm no David Attenborough, but I'd give it a good crack. Now, let's see. I think that's the problem for me, though, is I might not be... I'm not very much of a writer. I mean, I can tell a good story if one is written in front of me. Or if I've got some prompts and stuff. If I've got to do something, like, essentially off the cuff, I find that sometimes difficult if it's not something that's like super within my field of knowledge, which again probably sounds very bizarre, but a good example is the fact that a number of years ago I worked for a company called Games Workshop, and they do toy soldiers, and as part of their experience in store, you called an introductory experience, you would, essentially the staff member was supposed to, at least, almost tell you a story, like why stuff is going on, why is this exciting, get you hyped, get you excited about what's happening in the store. Like, because if somebody says to you, you're gonna paint this toy soldier, versus we're gonna paint this space marine, a superhuman, genetically engineered, powerful warrior of humanity, we're gonna paint his individual heraldry and make him unique and yours, it's a little bit more exciting. And that was a very bad one of doing them, because I used to teach people how to do that. So yeah, there's a, because it's something that I knew a lot about, I knew I could do very easily off the cuff. I even actually, because I wanted to become a manager out in Germany, it's actually one of the reasons I did my exams in German, so that I could actually turn around and run Games Workshop stores in Germany. Actually, and that's something that I've even debated, actually, is when I started doing these videos, maybe for a laugh try and do a couple of them in German and see how well that goes, because I think it'd be kind of interesting to see, as somebody with the fact that German is a second language, I think it'd be kind of interesting to kind of hear um, how terrible I am at trying to narrate about what I'm doing as a farmer, which does also mean that I would need to remember what all of the crop names are in German, which I mean, I don't know what parsnip is off the top of my head. I'm sorry. So yeah, maybe I'll dabble with that at maybe for April Fool's Day. Just do a couple of videos in German. That'd be kind of funny. I might have to send them to my old German teacher. I think she'd find them very funny. But yeah, back to Stardew, as of course we're still mining our way through the large quantities of stone and general resources. But again, it's trying to get the coal out of them, and I'm going to need iron and copper, because if I'm going to make more of these wine, like not the aging casks, sorry, the winemaking kegs, I'm going to need more of the copper and more of what's it called? Iron, because they're both component parts of these kegs to be allow you to make wine and beer and mead and so on and so forth. So that is going to be a thing that I'm going to have to do, and you know, it's not a terrible thing. I'm just going to have to do it. But anyway, we're now moving on to our final day of week 2. It's gone quite well so far. I feel that we've managed to achieve a good amount of stuff. We've got nearly $1 million in the bank again, which is fantastic. Yes, I do always want more, so I still need to get another 9 million. And once that's achieved, well, we'll be closer to getting the golden clock. And if memory serves, again, because I've never actually bought it, I just vaguely read the description, is it prevents degradation of your fences, and it also means that you end up with I think it stops weeds growing on the farm and weird stuff that you don't want, which I'm assuming is like the random stones and fiber that grow all over the farm when the seasons change. Again, could be wrong, but I believe that's what that means. And if that is the case, fantastic. Because, yeah, that's slightly annoying. Okay. But I don't think it preserves all of the land that you've hoed and fertilized. I'm not sure on that one, I'm afraid. Righty. Let's see if we can make anything exciting. So yeah, look, we've made most of the things that we need to make. I'm just going to make some more roasted hazelnuts and plum puddings, because roasted hazelnuts are Kent's favourite, and Janine, I think, is that her name? Jasmine? The girl. Again, because she's not a character that I've really had many dealings with, it's not a character I kind of remember, and potentially that's just because I kind of view them as semi-useless. Like, yes, okay, they have a purpose within Stardew in Pelican Town, but they don't do much. Like, they're not a shopkeeper, they're not a blacksmith, they are just a child. I mean, quite reasonably so, but for all intents and purposes, they are useless. Which sounds so bad, doesn't it? Goodness. This is why I shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I think that's really what it boils down to, is I don't have them because I'm not allowed. I'd be a terrible father. Oh, God. Anyway. Silly deciding aside. Okay, we got all of these lovely poppies to harvest. Now, poppies are Penny's favourite, and I think everyone else hates them, which I find kind of interesting. Because what I've essentially done is I've started growing opium here. And I don't really want to... I mean, I would have assumed that Harvey might be quite keen on them, considering, you know, He's a doctor, and you never know, your supplies of morphine might run out. Just rub a bit of poppy in there, get a little bit of opium off. There we go, lovely. You can tell I don't actually know how it works. So, yeah. Okay, so we've got, again, more electricity being generated and giving me the joys of power, which is fine. Getting more of these batteries and the lightning rods. Now, I know I need a few of them. And they're useful for making the iridium sprinklers. So I probably want to make a few more of those, to be fair. To kind of replace any of the quality sprinklers that might be around and about on the farm. And, yeah, kind of debating whether to try and actively just start spam producing them. But we'll see on that one. Anyway, so I'm going to go and check in on the plants in here. So we've got some more star fruit to harvest. So that's all good. Now, do I replace it with more star fruit, or do I put something else in for now? That's kind of a question, isn't it? Well, yeah, let's just replant it with starfruit. It kind of makes sense. It's financially the more useful. I kind of want to use it in here as a... Well, I don't know. Like, having this as a secondary greenhouse is all well and good in some regards, but do I want to only grow starfruit in here? Well, that's kind of the most financially viable. Maybe not immediately, being that it is the summer, and that summer allows me to grow starfruit anyway. But for now, I think that just starfruit growing in here is going to be the best plan. There's no rhyme or reason for me to grow anything else in here. But again, we'll progress and see what we can come up with. So, right, we're going to grab the bits of fish. Now, I know I'm holding on to these because they're useful for turning into quality fertilizer, but now I do have the ability to make the ridiculously good fertilizer if I can get a greater amount of sap, which, as I mentioned in a previous video, I think I'm going to have to do a test trial on Ginger Island to see how well the tappers work. Because if the tappers work in the way that I believe that they do, I will obtain the same amount of sap out of each of them. They're not going to give me any extra, which is a shame, but I think that's kind of how it's going to be. But my plan is to grow a bunch of the mahogany trees and put some tappers on them and see if the heavy tapper either produces more or produces faster. If it doesn't do anything, that would actually be an interesting update potentially for 1.6, is actually having the heavy tapper actually producing more sap. Because I believe you can harvest from it every day. I could be wrong. If it's every other day and the heavy tapper allows me to do it every day, fantastic. But I'm not sure. But for now, I'm generating a decent amount of stuff anyway. But it's something I could probably do on Ginger Island. Just have a slew of mahogany trees just planted there. And like the hardwood. I think it is mahogany, isn't it? And just have them grow in there. Just give me some form of extra useful resources. Because I want the sap. Because then I can turn that in with iridium bars into fertilizer. Which then kind of means that I don't need the fish traps on the farm, because they're only really there just to allow me to make fertilizer. That was the entire reason for them being there in the first place. So if I don't need them so much, well, let's get rid of them then. Again, the fishing traps aren't like a big thing. I don't really use them much. They're useful and all, and I'm kind of glad that I chose the crab pot, like the skill that means that I don't need to fill them with bait every day, because I'm lazy. So maybe that's something that I should potentially do, is a respec of my skills and my talents, which I believe I can do at the weird fat dog statue in the sewers. So that's going to be that kind of plan, at least. So I don't think that's a terrible idea. Just get it done. And it just means, like, next time, potentially, when I go and visit Krobus, I think I've got a decent relationship with Krobus. I know I do need to just make sure I've got a decent relationship with everybody. Again, that's what I'm aiming for. Now, of course, with the lovely wife Hayley, I've got one child. Now, I can't remember if having more children positively affects your farm in any way. I genuinely don't remember. I think it was something that you needed to have, like, 2 to have, like, the best score from grandfather, but I can't remember. I just have to... I don't think it's a part of perfection, thankfully, but it's going to have to be something I'm going to have to think about. Ah, well. Right, so let's head on over to see if Harvey's available. You around and about? Ah, so we've got a cutscene. Lovely. I haven't had a cutscene with Harvey before, I don't think. I think this is the one where he has the plane, isn't it? This one's quite cute, actually, to be fair. Where he encounters the plane on the radio. It's like, oh, that's adorable. Okay. Don't be flustered. If you have got a hobby, that's something that you enjoy and you can share with people, and that's precious. In of itself, it's a lovely and precious thing. Don't ever be ashamed of having a hobby you love. Just understandably so, sometimes your hobby might be considered a bit odd. But, you know, talking to somebody who's on a plane, it's kind of cool and all. I'm not saying it's my jam. I don't think ham radio isn't, like, a big thing for me. I don't really view it as a bad thing, but I don't really view it as, like, a major, oh, that's cool as hell. I think maybe it would have been a bit cooler in the 80s. As a hobby goes. A bit more interesting. And probably more so out in Australia and in America. What with particularly with Australia, with the large, like, ridiculously large distance between towns and stuff. I do vaguely remember as a kid learning about schools in Australia that are entirely on the radio, and you're probably never going to meet your classmates because there's just no opportunity to, because they are so far away. And yeah, I do kind of want to visit Australia, but I'm still undeniably nervous about it. Also, it's the idea of flying for that long. It's that does not fill me with joy. I'm sorry, Australia. The idea of having to travel that far makes me go, ugh. Especially considering, like, a good friend of mine lives out there, and after he moved out there for something like 10 years ago now. Yeah, it must have been. Because he was married to a woman who had joint UK-Australian citizenship, so off he went, and he enjoyed himself. It was great. Really nice bloke. I think he's doing quite well over himself there. But I'd be very keen to see him and visit. Maybe I'd if I could save up enough money to do, like, a decent, like, a couple of months tour of, like, parts of Asia. Like, I want to go to Japan. I've never been. I think that'd be amazing. It'd be really good fun. Like, if I had the money to go to, like, Japan and Australia and New Zealand, and I'd also really like to visit Vietnam. I think that'd be a really interesting country to visit. Just for the sake of being able to. Also, there's a lot of just fascinating, like, history that I'm kind of very much enamored with Vietnam. But hey, that's a idea for another time when I have lots of money. If and when that ever happens. Again, so I'm still confused whether actually making sure you have a decent relationship with your kids is actually worth it. Which sounds really janky, doesn't it? That makes me sound like that sort of abusive father who's like, I could have a decent relationship with my kids back. But, hear me out. Pfft, who cares? I don't need my kids. Because, you know, I know full well there are parents like that out there. So, that's not my jam. Okay. Is there anything else that I can do? Right, we're going to head back to Ginger Island for today. And let's see. Ah, excellent. There you are. I've been looking for you, Demetrius. Have some strawberries. They're your favoritist of things. So that's easy on that one. Okay. And there's Leo. Don't think I need to give him anything. Anyone else? I think that's the question. Is there anyone else I need to give anything to? Well, we've got lots of ginger there. That's all good. Gonna try and harvest all of that because ginger's great. And I also need to make more ginger beer because I haven't really done that for a little bit. And honestly, I need it for the luck boosts. And that's kind of the main reason that I'd ever want to grab it, to be very fair. Right, okay, so let's going to continue in here. I'm going to see if I can get some more stone, just because I want that 1,000 stone done and done. And once I'm done with that, not far off at all, to be fair, so that's good. Let's see. But yeah, once I've done with that, then that's another community quest done. I think I've done most of them that are out there. I do need to double check. And so, like, shamelessly, I have a little notebook of things that I've done for Stardew Valley. It's honestly the way I can keep track of things. I find, because of course I don't want to do a wiki, I've sort of had to make my own physical wiki. It's like the Encyclopedia Britannica Stardew Valley Pelican Town Edition. It's very ridiculous, and it's full of hastily scribbled notes in pencil, so I can edit it and add to it, because I'm a fond user of fountain pens. I don't actually use I don't like biro. I've always found fountain pens to be more fun, and it's a weird blend of my parents and dyslexia with that one. So, as I also look back at it with hindsight, with the blessings of hindsight now, I go, actually, no, it's probably ADHD as well. Sorry, the ADD, I don't have the H bit, that kind of affected me as a kid. I had a massive unwillingness to put anything to paper. And yeah, I do have a bit of dyslexia. That's definitely a thing. And because of that, my father realized that if I was to use a fountain pen, I'd have to be much more slow and deliberate. And by being slow and deliberate, I could end up with a better result with my handwriting and my ability to actually put my words on paper. And ever since then, I've always used a fountain pen. My handwriting has kind of like evolved in a weird way of absorbing what he taught me as a kid, like handwriting wise. And it's interesting the sorts of like weird stuff that one absorbs and takes on board with your own handwriting, especially when you copy someone else's style. Like, there was a period of time as a young child I used to copy Queen Elizabeth I. So this will sound real ridiculous, but she used to sign her names when she put when she'd sign her name, she would end up putting loops all the way down the page in a really peculiar way. If you want to have a look, I'd certainly have a look up Queen Elizabeth I's signature, and you'll see what I mean. It's very unusual. But I copied doing that as a kid for a little bit. Thankfully, I stopped doing that because it was ridiculous. And yet no. But I still have a much more... I've had it described as flowery by American friends of mine, which, again, because write in cursive at all times because it's a fountain pen. That's literally what you do. Ah, well. But it was a useful skill, learning how to use a fountain pen, because it made me actually able to think about it. It does mean that when I'm actually asked to try and spell something out, I think about how I would write it, and that's how I can figure out how to spell things, because I think about how would I write it, and like in my mind's eye, I picture myself just scribbling on a bit of paper, which is just, hey, it works, and that's all I can say. Okay, so whilst we're here, we're going to just cut up this grass because we might get a living hat, which doesn't look like we did, and again, I'd also like to try to get some more sap, because that's a particularly useful resource. Okay, so we've got a couple of bits of ginger ale here. That's fine and dandy. No worries there. Let's sort that out then. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. No, okay. So we've got some more grapes. So that's good, because that's more reputation with Vincent, which is, you know, I want to establish a good friendship with the boy. I want to make him... I mean, it's not like I've married his brother or anything, which I have done in a previous playthrough, so, you know, he's not my brother-in-law this time round. I'm not trying to make him, you know, enamored with me as a... I've taken your brother away, don't worry. He's fine. Now, also, like, I know that if you do marry Alex, his grandfather does come out with a bit of an odd... He's definitely, like, background a little bit homophobic, but he's sort of like the, okay, because it's you, I can deal with it sort of thing. I would imagine that Kent would also be a bit like that. But I wonder if that's because of my kind of internal prejudice against the military. I don't know. I might actually have to a think of that one. Actually have a look and see. But anyway, I think that's pretty much coming to the point where we're going to be able to wrap everything up for tonight. Just going to quickly check the greenhouse. We've got all this lovely fresh fruit to grab from the trees, and we can pop that into the jam and preserve making facility. That's a strange thing to even describe a shed as a facility. Good grief. But yes, I will bid you all a very fond farewell, because it's been an absolute pleasure recording another video for you all. I'm really glad that I'm getting people tuning in and enjoying me talking nonsense as well as Stardew Valley goodness. As I have mentioned before, if there are any games that you think would be quite good fun to listen to me playing, or a play along that you'd kind of like to see me struggle at, because you never know, there could be a game out there that just you want to watch me suffer doing. I will happily give it a try, because, hey, I'm open to giving things a go at least once. But, again, if you have enjoyed it, please do like, share, and subscribe, because all of those are really helpful. And, of course, it's always nice to get more viewers as we boil down through this. But, yeah... I was trying to think of, like, there's not a huge amount else to say about it, because the thing is, like, I do this because I enjoy it. I'm not trying to get rich and famous on the internet. It's just, you know, I do it because I enjoy it. But I'm glad that people are enjoying what I make. So let's just quickly pop these last bits away in here, because that's, again, kind of important on that one. I want to make sure of that, because I want to make sure that this preserved selection is fantastic. The thing is, it did actually make me try a couple of more unusual preserves that I'd never would have thought about, and actually, you know, they weren't terrible. But I think that's going to be it here for the Walrus at Stardew Valley. So thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll catch you all again the next time the Walrus plays Stardew Valley.